Greetings, everybody. It's me, Michael Feinstein, here in the archives at the Great American Songbook Foundation in Carmel, Indiana. And today I wanted to speak about the legacy of television variety shows and television specials. They are all but forgotten in the modern world of television and broadcasting, but for many, many decades, television specials, especially musical ones, were an important part of disseminating music of all different kinds to every household in America. And we shared, as a country, a common bond of everybody hearing this music and appreciating it and learning more about our musical legacy through the different music that was used on television specials. There were also weekly variety shows like the Ed Sullivan Show, which is the most famous variety show in American television history, where there would be different musical acts on each week. And in that period of musical television specials, there was a huge variety of different kinds of music. There would be pop music and the biggest pop stars of the time, hand in hand with jazz musicians, such as Ella Fitzgerald or Andre Previn on piano, or you name it. And then classical music and symphonic music conducted by the greatest conductors, and ballet music and opera singers. And it was all this conflagration of all different kinds of music that was beamed into all of our homes collectively. And it created a very high level of appreciation for different kinds of music, something that is fundamentally lacking in our musical world today, because now people tend to find exactly what they like and what they want to hear through electronic media, and therefore are sometimes deprived of learning about other kinds of music that they would like. Personally, I learned a lot of what I know about music from watching television specials, where you'd hear a little bit of classical music maybe played for a comedy sketch on a Carol Burnett show or an Andy Williams show. And so we have a lot of artifacts from different television specials, parts of different collections that have come to us from the Ray Charles collection. Ray Charles being one of the greatest vocal arrangers and writers of special material, and he found his niche in television, working ubiquitously on so many television shows and also on the Kennedy Center Honors, where they would call Ray Charles and say, we're doing a Muppet special. John Denver's going to be the guest, and we need musical material. So Ray Charles would have to figure out, with the musical director of the show, what kind of a song am I going to create that can be sung as a duet of John Denver and Miss Piggy? I mean, somebody had to come up with that idea and then find out what key John Denver would sing in, what key Miss Piggy sings in, and then figure out something that would work musically and also would work for a scene in a show, working with the writers of the program. And it's very, very complex. And they often had to do all of this very, very quickly. And one of the things that amazes me is the facility with which all of this was done, because TV was a quick medium where every week there was something different. And in the days of live television, which is mainly the 50s and 60s, it was even more difficult because it was live and you couldn't do another take or a retake, which we're accustomed to now, how you can record something and then you can re-record it and re-record it till you get it right and you can edit it. That didn't exist in early television. So the stakes were very, very high, and you just had to be able to produce. And Ray Charles always produced, and Ray lived into his 90s and left us this amazing legacy. Well, this is a rehearsal schedule and shooting schedule for John Denver and the Muppets in the Mountains. It's dated September 24th, 1982. This is the script for the program. And these are what we call musical lead sheets, which is the first iteration of a musical number that was going to be later orchestrated and presented full-blown on a television show. So this is a number that Ray wrote called Pitching a Tent, sung by Kermit the Frog and the Campers, which were other Muppet characters. And this is the lead sheet for Tumbling Tumbleweeds, as sung by John Denver and Miss Piggy. And we not only have these original lead sheets, but we also have some photographs that capture Ray Charles and John Denver in action, and John posing with the Muppets, Miss Piggy, and the creator, Jim Henson, holding up one of the puppets. And here is another shot of John interacting with, I can't tell if that's Kermit or who that is, but it's one of the Muppets. So it's fun to have the documentation of all these different aspects of that number. This is from our collection of music donated to us by Mitzi Gaynor, who was one of the most beloved and successful entertainers on stage and screen. And for many, many years, she did very highly acclaimed television specials and won a lot of awards for them. And this is a score for one of her routines that she did on the show called Dreams of the Everyday Housewife, which was a sketch that went into a musical number. And this is the full orchestral score as arranged by Billy Byers, who was one of the great musical minds of television and beyond. And if one ever wanted to recreate this piece of music live, we've got the score and it can be played again. To have all of this music is really extraordinary because even though it was considered expendable, it was for one purpose, for one television show, for one broadcast. We've come to recognize that many of these pieces of music deserve to be revived and heard again, and they can live on thanks to archives such as ours here at the Great American Songbook Foundation, preserving this material. We also have an incredible archive of the music of Andy Williams. Andy Williams is one of the most important pop singers of the 20th century and had a very, very successful television career with the highest rated variety show. And Andy would have as guests on his program every major entertainer in show business. And we have many of those arrangements here. And we also have oddities like these little things here, which are bridges of background music created for his television show. You know, when you see a television show and they say, "We'll be right back," you hear a piece of music. Or when there's a sketch where somebody walks into a room and they're doing a comedy routine, there's music playing in the background. Somebody had to come up with the idea for, create that music, have it orchestrated, and then, of course, record it and play it for the television show. So these are pieces of interstitial or background music or bumper music that were created for the Andy Williams show. And I don't know exactly what these were for, but we could figure it out. This is called Wrong Way Willie. So it clearly relates to some television sketch. And this is the lead sheet and the full orchestration. So if anybody wants to revive Wrong Way Willie, you just come and see us and we'll help you. So all of these pieces, again, help to tell a story of a very important part of American culture. It's, as I said, a collective experience that this music brought to all of us. And to be able to preserve it is important because in 100 years, people will more seriously appreciate a lot of this material. Because when something is preserved in our lifetime, we don't always consider it that important. And then when you look back 20, 30, 40 years later, it takes on an added significance because it is part of history that tells a story. And so there are many, many stories to be told here in the archives of the Great American Songbook Foundation. And we encourage you to learn more by going to our website, thesongbook.org. And I will look forward to seeing you again very soon here in the archives.